think I saw something. Stop worrying, we'll be fine. Think I got something.
What's going on everyone, and welcome back to a brand new Star Wars Battlefront 2 video. And in today's video I'm going to be giving you some basic tips on how you can improve your gameplay on the limited time mode Ewok Hunt in Battlefront 2. But before we get fully into this video, make sure to share your tips down in the comments section below if you have any good ways that you can stay alive and win the Ewok Hunt game mode yourself. And make sure to smash a like on this video to show support for Battlefront 2 on the channel. If you're new to the channel as well, make sure to subscribe to be kept up to date with Battlefront 2 content and see exclusive gameplay videos in the future. But other than that, we'll get into the topic of this video, basic tips on how you can improve your gameplay on Ewok Hunt in Battlefront 2. So I'm going to break this down into tips for troopers first and then tips for the Ewoks. I'm not the best Ewok player and I'm probably not the best trooper player, so be aware that you're not going to see 500 kill gameplays in this particular video, but you're going to learn some cool tips on how you can possibly improve your gameplay. So for the troopers, one of the main things for me that I noticed when I was actually playing the game was that people have no idea that there are supply crates knocking around the map for you to be able to use and collect a DC-15 LE heavy blaster and incendiary imploder compared to your normal E11 and flashlight. The E11 obviously is great and the flashlight does help you a lot considering you can't see a damn thing in this game mode. However, if you do find the supply crates knocking around the map, make sure to open them and pick them up because you will receive a heavy blaster which can deal more damage to the Ewoks and fire more rounds at the Ewoks before you need to cool it down, and then you'll also gain the incendiary imploder grenade which will help you take out a large group of Ewoks a lot quicker than trying to shoot them all in the face. Another tip for the troopers is that when a wispy grenade, or whatever you want to call it, is thrown by the Ewoks, roll away from it, or combat roll away from it as fast as you can, as it will help you receive less damage when you are playing this game mode. I've seen these grenades thrown at people before and they literally just stand there and get eaten alive by these little glowing fireflies or whatever they are inside the grenades, the wispies, where when I actually get hit with them, I do try and combat roll away to get out of the way of it as fast as possible so I take less damage. Another thing that I've seen people do is not pay attention to the map, and I've done this myself, I'm not going to pretend I haven't, because there are Ewok traps placed around the map that will deal a lot of damage to you, or if you are low on health, they will kill you outright. This actually happened to me. I was like, I think a tree fell on me or something like that, and it looked like that killed me, but then it popped up saying an Ewok trap had actually killed me, which I was surprised by. But then once I actually was aware of this, I started looking around the map and seeing the nets with the rocks hanging from the trees, and I try to stay away from them as much as possible, as they do tend to fall on you and, like I said, cause a lot of damage or kill you, and I've seen other people not actually pay attention to this, so that's just one thing to be aware of when you're playing this mode. Another tip for the troopers is to not stay in the same spot for the whole game, especially not in the forest, as you do get overrun when more Ewoks spawn in after the Stormtroopers are defeated. Remember, when the Stormtroopers are killed in this game mode, they do then become Ewoks, so the more Stormtroopers that die, the more Ewoks there are chasing you down. So if you stand in the forest like a numpty, you're probably going to get overrun eventually by a lot of Ewoks, and you're not really going to stand a chance. But at the same time as this, don't move around the map too much, or you'll not actually be able to focus on where the Ewoks are attacking you from when there are more of them. If you can set yourself up in a nice little position where you are just watching one direction for the Ewoks to run at you, then by all means stay there because you're going to only be shooting in one direction. However, if you're actually stood in the middle of the forest, they could come from anywhere and you're not really going to be able to deal with all of the Ewoks once more of them do spawn in. Now the best way to do this in my opinion, and probably the most annoying thing for the Ewoks to actually attack in this game mode, is to head to the caves that are in this map and set up cover at most of the entrances into the cave. Now this cave is actually lit up as well, so you won't only be relying on your torches to spot the Ewoks. There are actually fire torches placed around the cave, giving it more light, allowing you to spot the Ewoks a little bit more easily, and this will allow you to kill the Ewoks before they can get up in your face with their spears. But be aware they will throw wispies into the cave, so make sure to combat roll out of the way when they do that. However, if you are set up in the cave with quite a lot of stormtroopers, it will be really hard for the Ewoks to break down the defenses and get inside. And that's just my tip. I know it's really annoying to attack the cave as the Ewoks, especially if there's only one or two of you. However, if you are the troopers, it is probably the best way to stay alive. Set up base in the cave and then make sure to kill the Ewoks before they get anywhere near you. The final tip for the troopers that I actually have is to not to head to the extraction point too early if you are on your own or there's just 1, 2 or 3 of you, as the Ewoks will overrun you when you try to defend it when you actually get there. But obviously don't leave it too late as well, or you will find yourself running into an Ewok ambush. It's all about timing whether or not you actually extract safely from this game mode as the troopers. I have played games where I've went to the extraction zone straight away and then I've been overrun by Ewoks and I didn't really stand a chance at defending it. And then I've also waited around until the very last second, then ran out when the ship is actually there, and then there's already been the Ewoks waiting around to finish me off when I've arrived. Now on to the tips for the Ewoks, and the first key point to remember is that the troopers can see a lot less than the Ewoks can in the dark. So unless you are directly in the troopers' torches, you won't be seen. So don't play 100% passive all of the time as an Ewok, as you do have the advantage by being able to see more than the troopers in the dark. But also don't be stupid and run around openly in front of the troopers, because if they do spot you, they will attack you and kill you quickly, because once one trooper shoots in a direction, they all tend to do it and then you just get wiped out. Now when it comes to actually attacking the stormtroopers, try to target lone stormtroopers as they will be easier to take out, and trust me, a lot of players do actually run off on their own in this mode, thinking that they will be safer, as the Ewoks do tend to attack large groups more often, as they are easier to spot because you can often see them in the forest waving their flashlights around like they're at a rave. Whereas a lone trooper on his own who turns his torch off, he's going to be harder to spot because you can see more as an Ewok. You will spot him and you'll be able to take him out a lot more quickly than you can take out a group on your own. Now a key thing to remember when you're attacking stormtroopers in general is to utilise your Wispies, that ability which throws the grenade which looks like fireflies which attack the stormtroopers. They deal a small amount of damage to troopers when you throw it at them, making them easier to take out with your spear if you can get up close enough to them. Now bear in mind as well, the Wispies can also separate and break up a large group of troopers easily when you throw one into the crowd, as they will disperse trying to get away from the Wispies, leaving them vulnerable to Ewok spear attacks if you are close enough, and they do tend to roll off on their own. I've seen it many times where I've thrown my Wispies into a group, they've all run off, and then we've taken them out one by one because they've separated, they've rolled away from each other, and then they are on their own, easier to take out. Another thing to remember when you are playing as the Ewoks is to utilise the huts that are on the ground to get out of a trooper's way if you are being shot at. These lead you straight up into the tree tops, and sometimes you can actually jump down from the tops and kebab a trooper if they have hung around long enough trying to find you once you've went inside of the doors. I've seen it a few times where Ewoks have ran into the doors on the ground, a trooper's went up to try and find out where they've gone, and then the Ewok has actually landed on their head and taken them out. It's quite funny to watch, but it's also quite terrifying, so do try to be that Ewok which can lead a stormtrooper into a death trap. And the final tip I have for the Ewoks is to try and flank the troopers most of the time, especially if they are actually inside of the caves, which does happen a lot, I've found. Troopers will be focused on what is in front of them at the entrances to the cave, trying to keep the Ewoks out. However, this does actually leave their backs vulnerable, and you can sneak around them and find the back entrances, get inside the caves, then sneak around the caves, and use spear attacks and your Wispies to take them out from behind, if you can actually manage to sneak your way in. It will be quite hard, as they will be all over the place trying to shoot you, but if they are focused in a couple of directions, you can find the back entrances, because there are a lot of ways into this cave. Some of them aren't actually doorways, some of them are just sort of openings in the top where you'll walk in and you'll be up completely way above the stormtroopers, and you'll be able to drop down on top of them and take them out without them even seeing you come in. But those are just my quick tips to help you improve your gameplay for Ewok Hunt. I do hope they help you out. But like I said, make sure to let me know down in the comment section below your tips for Ewok Hunt to help each other out and become better Ewok hunters or Stormtrooper hunters, whatever you prefer to be. Make sure to smash a like on this video as well if you have enjoyed it, and make sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel to be kept up to date with Battlefront 2 content and see exclusive gameplay videos in the future. But other than that, we'll see you in the next video.
Peeled. I think I saw something. Stop worrying, we'll be fine.